You wouldn't think that something as simple as buried cables could set off a storm like the one I ended up in. But, just like anything in life, things always seem to snowball, especially when you least expect it. It all started on a cloudy Monday morning. I was out at the back of the ranch near the east fence line, just doing my usual rounds. Checking the fence posts, making sure the cattle were where they were supposed to be, taking a breath of fresh air with my dog, Max, at my side. Nothing unusual, just another day in the quiet life of a rancher. Or so I thought. Then I noticed it. A patch of soil that looked off. At first, I couldn't quite place it. It was like someone had just plopped a patch of freshly dug earth in the middle of the field without a care in the world. No tire marks, no sign of machinery, just a perfectly straight trench running deep into the trees, like someone had sliced through the land without asking. Naturally, I got curious. It's not like I have a lot of mysteries to solve out here. So, I followed the trench. It went on for about half a mile before I found something that definitely didn't belong on my land. A small metal box, half buried under a rock. It had a fiber optic warning sign bolted onto the side. That's when it clicked. They'd buried fiber optic cables under my property. And not just any company, either. The box had a logo on it, HOA's new internet provider, the same one they'd been bragging about at the last town meeting. The one that promised blazing fast internet speeds to everyone in the HOA community. But my ranch wasn't part of any HOA. It was my family's land, 62 acres of it, bought by my dad long before anyone even thought of putting up houses in the area. The nearest HOA property? 2 blocks away. There was no easement, no permission, and certainly no contract giving anyone the right to lay down cables on my land. I stood there, staring at that damn box, my blood beginning to boil. Max barked beside me like he sensed something was wrong. I pulled out my phone and snapped pictures, coordinates, the cable markings, the box itself. I even dug around the edges with my boots, exposing more of the orange cable tubing. That's when I made my decision. If they were going to use my land without asking, I wasn't just going to stop them. Oh no, I was going to turn this into an opportunity. Later that same day, I called up my cousin Tyler. He works in underground utility inspection, and I needed someone to confirm what I was seeing. He came over with his equipment, and sure enough, he confirmed cables running straight across the southern side of my ranch, connecting at multiple points. He shook his head as he looked at the screen. They laid this whole line recently, man, he said. And it's active. They're using it. I stared down that trench line, a smile creeping onto my face. Oh, they're using it. All right, I muttered under my breath. But not for long. You see, what they didn't know was that I didn't just own the land. I had inherited the mineral and utility rights to the whole damn property. That meant no one could lay anything underground without my permission. No easement, no temporary access, nothing. And as far as I was concerned, they'd violated some serious federal infrastructure laws. That night, I stayed up researching who exactly was behind the HOA's internet provider. I found out it was a local startup called FiberHive. They were hustling to bring gigabit internet to 6 HOA communities in the region, promising a fast rollout. But their biggest shortcut? Me. They were using my land without even asking. But that's when I got an idea. A good one. A brilliant one, if I'm being honest. I remembered another company, a rival called Lightning Connect. They offered almost the same services but hadn't yet expanded into our county. So, I did what any self-respecting rancher would do in my position. I sent them an email. The subject line read, Strategic Underground Access Private Land Opportunity. I attached photos of the existing fiber trench, showing that FiberHive had already laid their lines across my property. I hit send. And then, I waited. 2 days later, I got a response. Lightning Connect's director of expansion wanted to talk urgently. Meanwhile, the HOA had no idea what I was up to. But I noticed something strange. The next morning, a small white van appeared near the edge of my property. A guy in a neon vest was walking back and forth, checking a map on a clipboard. He kept glancing around, kneeling near one of those fiber optic boxes. I wasn't about to let him go unnoticed, so I hopped on my ATV and rolled up behind him, killing the engine. I walked up to him, arms crossed. Can I help you with something? I asked, my voice as calm as I could manage. He jumped, like he'd seen a ghost. I'm with FiberHive, he stammered, clutching his clipboard. We're just doing some routine maintenance. On my private ranch. I asked, eyebrow raised. His clipboard trembled. I didn't know this was private. Oh, it is. I said slowly, savoring the moment. And I've got a lawyer who'd be real interested in what you're doing here. The guy mumbled an excuse and bolted back to the van, looking like a dog that just got caught eating the neighbor's trash. That's when I knew I had them right where I wanted them. A few days later, Lightning Connect sent a team to walk the land. They were impressed: clear access routes, flat terrain, full legal control. We signed a lease deal right there on my porch. The deal would pay me monthly for underground cable access. But the real kicker? The clause that required FiberHive to remove their cables before Lightning Connect's lines could be installed. I didn't tell them that part yet. But I wasn't done. I filed the lease agreement at the county office and had my lawyer send a certified letter to FiberHive and the HOA. The letter read, "Cease and desist. You have 21 days to remove all unauthorized cables from my property. Failure to comply will result in removal at your expense, legal action, and public exposure." Day 1, nothing. Day 3, still quiet. Day 5, that's when the bulldozer showed up. It wasn't mine. It was theirs. The HOA trucks were parked right on the edge of my ranch, men in hard hats jumping out and getting ready to dig. I walked out with the lease agreement in one hand and my video camera in the other. "Hey," I yelled across the field. One of the contractors waved a piece of paper in the air and shouted, "We have permission from the city to be here." I narrowed my eyes. "You might have permission from the city," I said slowly, stepping forward. "But you sure as hell don't have it from me." Then, a black SUV pulled up beside the trucks. Out stepped 2 men in suit, city officials. One of them was holding a copy of the permit. My heart dropped. They'd forged documents. My land was never part of the HOA's jurisdiction, but they claimed it was. I didn't blink. "You're telling me," I said, voice shaking with disbelief, "that this paper says my ranch belongs to them?" One of the officials nodded, flipping through the pages. "According to this, your property was incorporated into the HOA district under a special clause. Says here you consented to it." I let out a laugh. I didn't sign anything. They exchanged glances. One of them stepped away to make a call. Meanwhile, the contractors stopped, their bulldozer idling in the background, waiting. When the official returned, his posture was different. "There's been a mistake," he said. "The HOA representative who filed these documents. She no longer works with the city. This incorporation wasn't done with the proper legal steps. It's not enforceable." I took a breath. The battle wasn't over, but I had a foothold. I went back to my truck, grabbed my land deed, and walked back to the officials. "Here's the truth," I said, holding out the papers. "And here's my lease agreement with Lightning Connect. Those cables you buried? They're coming out now." The official nodded, and within minutes, the bulldozer was turned around and the contractors were packing up. But even as they left, I knew something bigger was at play. The HOA wasn't going to give up that easily. They had bigger plans, and I wasn't about to let them get away with it. And that, my friends, was just the beginning of one hell of a fight. So what do you think? Was I right to stand my ground? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the HOA had any right to do what they did? Let's talk about it.